Welcome back to Ink Drinkers Anonymous Book Club, where we unravel stories with just enough analysis to justify the obsession with reading. Today we're talking about Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zeng, a horror novel that begins during the pandemic, but trust me, this is not just another COVID story. The book follows Cora, who's a crime scene cleaner during the height of the pandemic. Right at the beginning of the book, her sister is murdered by being thrown in front of a subway train. It's during a time where fear and paranoia are spreading faster than any virus ever could. From there, the book becomes an exploration in grief, identity, xenophobia, and what people are capable of when panic becomes currency. I am exhausted by fiction, TV shows, books, movies, everything that seems to name drop COVID like it's a required timestamp. It's supposed to be fiction, it's supposed to be my escape. It's not the real world. COVID doesn't have to happen in it. So I walked into this book really skeptical. But here the pandemic isn't treated like an emotional shortcut. It's used as ignition. It's a catalyst, not a crutch. The story isn't obsessed with masks and lockdowns. It's interested in what collective fear turns people into. Cora is a standout protagonist. I think she's one of the best main characters I've read in a while. She's unsettling, sharp, grieving, and constantly navigating the tension between cultural identity and autonomy. She's not written to be likable in a safe way. She's actually compelling and is actually quite a likable character. Giving her the job of crime scene cleaner just adds to this absolute feeling of dread. She's not just cleaning up crime scenes, she's cleaning up the aftermath of societal collapse. I feel like the side characters are just fleshed out enough to impact the story, but they don't ever compete with Cora. She remains the emotional anchor, and that keeps the focus of the narrative very sharp. Let's talk about some of the themes. This book dissects fear like it's a living organism. The pandemic may be the setting, but the true infection here is what fear does to people. How it spreads, mutates, and attaches itself to identity, race, grief. Fear is treated like the virus. It's transmitted through rumor, news cycles, casual paranoia, and collective hysteria. It doesn't need a confirmed threat to feel real. That's partly what makes the horror so grounded. And don't come at me, I'm not discounting what happened at all during COVID. I'm just exploring the fear part of it. I'm not saying it wasn't real or anything, so don't bean-suit me. Cora's living in a world where Asian identity becomes a visual trigger for blame. The novel explores how society searches for a face to attach fear to, even if the logic is flimsy. It's just how people work. Horror here isn't just the monsters and the gore, it's the weaponization of perception. Cora is constantly navigating who she is in a world that is eager to define her by a stereotype. The tension between how she sees herself and how others see her becomes part of the horror. Her job as a crime scene cleaner becomes symbolic. She sanitizes the aftermath of horror while internally carrying her own. She erases visual traces of death, but cannot erase the emotional residue that follows her around. Grief haunts this narrative like a ghostly presence. It's not always visible, but it's always influencing the choices that Cora's making. The book asks, when someone you love dies unjustly, what does justice look like? Is it fear, revenge, transformation? There's a subtle thread about how stories get retold and sensationalized and consumed. Information just becomes entertainment, and real fear gets turned into public spectacle to a horrifying effect. Horror in this story is partly supernatural, partly psychological, and partly societal. I would argue that that is a very unsettling blend. It's not just constant jump scares, it's creeping instability. Body horror intersects with emotional horror, and by the time things turn truly bizarre, you're already super invested in Cora's unraveling enough that it doesn't feel random. The pacing throughout the book is super consistent. There's no point where it lingers too long or veers into melodrama or even moves too fast. The early inciting incident, Cora's sister's death, establishes the emotional stakes immediately, right off the bat. And the narrative maintains that tension without having to resort to any kind of filler. The ending provides closure without suffocating any interpretations. You walk away still thinking about what fear justifies in people, and what society chooses to blame. This is one of the few pandemic adjacent stories I feel that felt intentional rather than reactive. It balances horror, character study, societal insight, all very well. It never tips too far into one direction. I give it 4.25 stars. It's intense and unsettling in a very thoughtful way, and it's very much worth the hype. I don't say that very often. Let me know in the comments, are you avoiding pandemic fiction or do you like it? And if you've read this one, no spoilers, but how did you interpret the horror? If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more horror recs or any other recommendations, I read broadly. Like and subscribe. Okay, bye.